Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Well, good evening on a Wednesday night here, chilling with Larry Megan. I'm Larry Megan, of course, and you might have noticed we started about a minute or two late. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty with a couple of the videos, but we'll get to that. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Some of my very favorite subjects. First of all, in the jazz segment we call In the Groove, my all-time favorite jazz musician, Chet Baker. And Chet Baker, that opening song that you heard on the trumpet, that is Chet Baker for my theme song. I grew up as a kid and I wanted to play trumpet, and I did play as a kid for 4 years thanks to Chet Baker, and kind of a tragic story, and we're going to talk about Chet. And in the classic film zone tonight, one of the great movie musicals of all time, Easter Parade with Fred Astaire and my favorite, Judy Garland. So we're going to see some clips with Fred and Judy. And also in the Always Chasing Rainbows with Judy Garland, we're going to transition seamlessly right into Judy's segment with, again, some more clips from Easter Parade with Judy Garland. So a great show lined up on that front. Now, a little housekeeping here for the Acorn Exchange. And we've got another great offer from Sterling Original tonight. Anybody new that's tuning in tonight for the first time, and you may, many of the watch guys who tune in, you're aware of it, but you may not be aware. I happen to be president of Sterling Original Watch Company. That's my day job. And we've been pretty busy lately. It's that time of year. It's getting into the season now, and it keeps me hopping for sure. But, what we're doing here with Acorn Exchange, Sterling Original is supporting us with some offers of some items that, maybe we don't have enough pieces to put it on Shop NBC. Maybe we've got a dozen pieces of this or 10 pieces of that. And so I'm bringing them here to you at greatly reduced prices. I mean, just spectacular deals. Last week we had our Symphony Menuet. The week before, or 2 weeks before that, we had the Aviator, which was a great offer as well. Tonight, it's our Century Plaza. And if we have that graphic, I'd like to show it, because what you can do now is you can go to, what you'll want to do is open up a new browser window, okay, and go to acorn.tv. Now, if you're already watching us on Acorn TV, then just, again, open up a new browser. You don't want to leave the show, of course. And if you're watching it somewhere else, again, open a new browser, go to www.acorn.tv, and there's a picture of our Century Plaza, a beautiful timepiece. What you'll want to do is click on the Acorn Exchange link at the top, or the banner across the bottom that says click here for the Acorn Exchange, and then click into the Giant Oak Offering. And when you go into the Giant Oak Offering, you're going to see the Century Plaza. Now, this is a spectacular timepiece. It's a beautifully well-proportioned tonneau-shaped case, as you can see here in the graphic. And it is a mechanical automatic, which means there's no battery in this timepiece whatsoever. It's a gorgeous dress piece from our boardroom collection in the Labyrinthian series. Beautiful mother of pearl dial. That black mother of pearl throws off all the colors. But here, this is the real key. This timepiece is not only a mechanical automatic, but it has a power reserve indicator up there at the 12 o'clock position. You see that little needle? It's pointing to 0. When this watch is fully wound, it'll show you up to 40 hours of power reserve, one of the most practical complications in all of watchmaking, but also one of the more expensive complications. This watch regularly retails around $399 to $449, depending upon where you buy it. Tonight, here on the Acorn Exchange, only a limited supply in this execution, the rose gold with the black mother of pearl, for only $119. But to get it, when you go into your shopping cart, you have to use the code word Chet. There it is, code Chet, C-H-E-T, for our main man tonight, Chet Baker. And you'll be able to get that $330 discount, and you can get it tonight for only $119. That is truly a spectacular offer. This is just a fantastic timepiece. You're going to love it. For all the people that did pick up the last couple of offers, I know I've received emails from you. Thank you very much. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback, and we're going to try and bring you a nice special offer each week here on Chillin' with Larry Megan. So take advantage of that. Now, one more thing on that. This week we're doing something new. If you missed the Symphony Minuet last week, you can go into the Acorn Exchange and click on the Squirrely Deal. We have a Squirrely Deal. It's the Symphony Minuet. It's on sale tonight for only $149. It's a mechanical automatic with master calendar, day, date, month with no battery, and a 24-hour indication. Another beautiful boardroom piece from our Symphony series. So take a look at that. Now, as far as Chet Baker goes, we're going to go in the groove right now. We've got a call-in guest, too. We're going to get him on the phone in just a few minutes here. But we're going in the groove for Chet Baker.
Listen, Paganini, please play my Rhapsody. And if you cannot play it, won't you sing it? If the boys are bobbing, ain't no need in stopping. Listen, Paganini, we breathlessly await your
Okay, guys, Chet Baker, my main man. Now, listen, if you've never heard of Chet Baker, sit back and relax and just try and learn a little bit about Chet, because Chet was, as far as I'm concerned, just the hippest, coolest cat on the West Coast. West Coast jazz in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Of course, he spent much of his time in Europe, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But one of the technical difficulties we were having is we lost a couple of the videos, unfortunately, for tonight. I've got plenty more, okay? Don't worry about that. But the two videos that we did lose were from the movie Let's Get Lost, which was a, award-winning documentary. Maybe you've seen it out there. It was an award-winning documentary, as we show you some nice pictures of Chet Baker. Here he is in a little bit older years. But it was done by Bruce Weber in 1988. It's about a, 90 or 100-minute documentary about Chet and his life. And the last interview with Chet was literally just weeks before he was found dead in Amsterdam in 1988. So it's really the last days of Chet Baker. You got to go out there and find Let's Get Lost. Easier to find on a VCR or VHS tape rather than a DVD, but you do see some of these DVD conversions. You will love that story. But unfortunately, those videos from that particular movie, we were not able to get into the system. Something happened, and we don't have them. But I have plenty of videos of Chet, but in his little bit older years. So I don't have those younger Chet. We're going to show you some pictures. But let's take a look. Chet Baker, well, I'm going to give you a little history on Chet. But before we do, I thought, why don't we just take a look at Chet and get a little bit of a musical taste. And this is going to be live from Ronnie Scott's club in England, a very famous jazz club in England. This was in 1986, about 2 years before he passed away. And Anthony, if you have it, I want to use the video of, it would be the one CB05, which is... you have that one? And in here, you'll see he talks about his, where he's from. He's from Oklahoma, and he talks about his early childhood days for a moment here. Let's take a look at Chet Baker.
Chet, you were born in Oklahoma. Do you have any memories of Oklahoma? You moved when you were quite young, I believe.
Yes, but I do have some memories of Oklahoma. My mother was born on the same farm where I was born, and I remember the fruit trees, the acres of watermelons, and the big red barn that used to smell like strange smells, of horses and cows and pigs and the whole thing. Walking out in the watermelon patch and lifting one up and letting it fall, and it would break open, and I'd just eat the heart out. But I left there when I was, I used to go back there during the summer.
Yeah.
And I lived in Oklahoma City really from the time I was about 1 year old with my aunt. And then at 10 I moved to California.
Just friends, lovers no more, just friends, not like before. Think of what we've been. Not to kiss again seems like pretending it isn't the end. Two friends drifting apart. Two friends, one broken heart. We love, we laugh, we cry. Suddenly love died. The story ends, but we're just friends. Just friends, lovers no more. Just friends, not like before. To think of what we've been, not to kiss again. Seems like pretending it isn't the end. We're two friends drifting apart. Two friends, one broken heart. We love, we laugh, we cry. Suddenly love died. The story ends, but we're just friends. The story ends, but we're just friends. The story ends, but we're just friends.
I'll tell you what, I've had a few of those.
You don't work that much.
You know, I just love hearing Chet's style of singing. I know a lot of people haven't quite got, hip to his style, but it works for me every time. Now, we've got a special guest. If we can get him on the phone, it's Jack Wilkins, and we're going to dial him up right now. And Jack is an international jazz guitarist. I mean, he's been on the jazz scene. He's played with everybody. He's played with Sarah Vaughan, Sammy Davis Jr., Mel Torme. He's recorded with Mel Torme.
Hello.
Hey, Jack, are you on the phone?
Yes, it's me, yes.
Larry Megan here, chilling with Larry Megan.
How are you, Larry?
Wonderful. Are you able to see on the computer as we're speaking?
No, I don't care about that. Talk to me.
Well,
Ask me questions.
that's cool. I just wanted to know if we were going to flash some of the pictures you sent us, if you were able to actually see them. But I was just starting to get into a little background on you. You've recorded with so many people. Sarah Vaughan and Sammy Davis Jr. and Tony Bennett and Mel Torme, some of my favorites, and of course a lot of people that over the years that people I'm just not familiar with, but I know they're international jazz artists that are well known.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff here.
Well, what brought us together tonight, Jack, and I want to get the word out there where you're playing. You're still on the scene here in New York, on the jazz scene. But I guess at one time or another, you've played with Chet Baker.
Yes, I did. I actually did a recording with Chet, actually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So talk to me. Tell me about Chet Baker and how you came to record with Chet. And do you have anything interesting to tell us about Chet?
Sure. Well, Chet was he wasn't doing very well at the time I met him. His problems were already legendary. About all that. But he was in rehab at the time. Mm-hmm. And he was good friends with Michael Moore. Do you know Michael Moore, the bass player?
No, I don't.
Yeah, well, he was good friends with Michael Moore, and so Michael Moore and we're doing a lot of duo gigs. A bass player, he's a great bass player. He was on my first record called Windows. Anyway, so Chet would show up and, just sit in with us and play with us a lot. Mm-hmm.
That was here in New York, right?
Yeah, that was in New York. It was mostly downtown. There was a downtown club where he used to come by and sit in. And anyway, about I think it must have been 79 or something like that. I got a phone call early in the morning from Creed Taylor. You know Creed Taylor? Creed Taylor was a record producer, CTI Productions.
Okay.
And he said, Jack, would you... really funny story. He said, would you like to record a record with Chet Baker and Don Sabetsky? And,
wow.
And I said, well, sure. So they picked me up in a limo, and they took me out to New Jersey, Rudy Van Gelder's studio, and I recorded this record. And Chet was on the record, but I didn't see him for a while. I didn't know. But anyway, to make a long story short, we recorded the record, and OK Dalta was also on this record, and Chet, of course. And then what happened was that Creed Taylor decided that Jim Hall was supposed to record that record, but they had a contract dispute. So Creed decided to not use Jim Hall. Excuse me. Anyway, it's getting a long, boring story here, but what happened was
You're doing
I
fine.
did the whole record, but instead of when the record came out, Jim Hall actually worked out the contract dispute, and he went in and recorded the record. And he layered my parts, as they call it. Mm-hmm. It's a very common practice, by the way. Anyway, but one track, I was on one track, was called Old Blues.
Old Louie?
You know, the Miles Davis tune, Old Blues. I guess it was
Old
Miles
Blues,
Davis.
okay. So which CD is that on? Because I know Chet's got a million CDs out there.
Studio Trieste.
Studio Trieste.
Yeah, Trieste.
Trieste.
Trieste, something like that. Anyway, so it's a very nice record, actually. And I was glad to be part of it, but you know, Jim Hall did all the playing. It's about money. It was a money thing. So I understood that. It was all right with me.
Well, I got you on the phone here, Jack. You know, I was reading your bio, and I couldn't help but notice some of the other people that you've played with and recorded with. Some of my favorites. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah. I played with him at a concert one time. It was great. He was so much fun. I love Sammy. Wow.
Ray Charles.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ray Charles, Mel Torme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tony
Mel Torme.
Bennett.
Well, Mel Torme used to come down to Buddy Rich's club. I played with Buddy Rich, and this place called Buddy's Place.
Uh-huh.
And Mel used to come by a lot and sit in and play with us. It was funny.
Now, you're still out there playing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
All right, well, now's the chance. Let's give a nice plug. Anybody who wants to come see you, where are they going to come to see you, Jack?
Well, I play every Tuesday night at a place called Bella Luna Restaurant. Last night I played with Bucky Pizzarelli.
I've heard of him.
At a place called Bella Luna Restaurant. It's on 88th and Columbus Avenue in New York City. And it's a great hang, man. We have so much fun there.
So at Bella Luna, is that every Tuesday night?
Yes, every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night, Bella Luna on the Upper West Side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have a
88th in Columbus, yeah. It's really, really fun.
88 in Columbus. Now, you have a website, right?
I do, yes.
And on your website, do you put your gigs on there where people can come and see you?
Of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is that web address, Jack? Let's get it out there.
Well, it's pretty simple. JackWilkins.com.
How creative. JackWilkins.com.
WILKINS.
WILKINS, JackWilkins.com. Check him out at Bella Luna on the Upper West Side in New York City.
Yeah, I do a lot of other stuff. We played at a place called the Bar Next Door. On Saturday night, I played with Akita Tana and Harvey S. It was a really memorable evening. Wow, what a night that was.
Well, I did check out your site, and I saw that video on your site, Skylark, and I got a flavor for your guitar playing just by going to your website, and it kind of did remind me of George Benson. And then, sure enough, you've got a picture of you and George Benson. I mean, your style, maybe it was just that one video, but it had a feel of George Benson, did it not?
I guess so. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Well, George and I have been friends for a long time.
Now, is he still around? There's you and George. Is he still around?
Geez, I hope so.
I mean, I haven't really been, keeping up.
Unless something happened in the last couple of days, No, he's around. He's doing great, man.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah, he's about a year older than me. He's, George is a big famous star. He sings. And
now, here's a picture on the screen of you and George, and you look pretty young in this picture. When was this picture taken?
86. So
that was only 24 years ago.
Yeah, only 24 years ago. That's about right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, listen, Jack. Thanks for checking in with us tonight, and it was nice talking to somebody who actually recorded with Chet, and he's one of my favorites for sure. But
yeah, no, you told me that's there's a lot to like about that man.
Yeah,
but we all know about his problems later on. But when I knew him, he was pretty much in rehab and taking care of himself pretty well.
Yeah, I heard he actually had stayed clean for almost 3 years at one time. That might have been during that time.
Yeah, I never saw the evil side of him, I guess you call it.
Well, again, Jack, thank you so much for checking in with us here tonight, and I want to encourage everybody to go check out Jack Wilkins at Bella Luna on the Upper West Side on every Tuesday night at Bella Luna. Okay?
Thanks, Larry.
Anytime, Jack. Thanks so much.
Okay, man.
All right.
You take care.
All right, take care. Stay strong. All right. Let's get back into quickly here, if we can, another little spot from Chet, and we can talk about him a little bit as well. But after that talk, I think it's time for a little music here. Do we have the spot? Well, if we go to CB06, we're gonna. You have it on CB06. If you can start in at about 4 minutes in. After you see him there with Elvis Costello. Well, actually, that's Van Morrison. Right, it's right after Van Morrison. With that night, here's the thing, these videos that we're showing you are from, right there. Go back to the beginning of that. But this is from the live at Ronnie Scott's in England in 1986. And that night at Ronnie Scott's, he played live with Van Morrison and Elvis Costello. And it's a pretty cool DVD. You might want to pick that up and check it out. Let's check out some more Chet Baker.
Was there a moment where you felt there was the apprenticeship of learning? You said that you'd studied music and then found it that a burden, an unnecessary burden for what you wanted to do? Was there a point where the apprenticeship of learning and playing dance bands and during your time during the army, you realised that it was over, and you started to feel that you had something that was yours in your playing, and therefore that would be the point where maybe you were going towards recording and performing and reaching an audience of your own?
Well, probably when I won the audition to work with Charlie Parker in 1952, I think that would have been the turning point right there.
That was something of a sort of accolade. You were quite young then?
I was 22. I came home one day and there was a telegram from Dick Bach saying that there was an audition for an engagement with Charlie Parker at the Tiffany Club at 3 o'clock. So I raced up there, and has kind of swinging doors, you know. It's very dark inside. It was very bright outside. So I couldn't see anything for about 5 minutes. And then as my eyes got accustomed to the darkness, I looked around the room, and every trumpet player in Los Angeles was in there. And evidently someone had spoken to him about me, probably Dick Bach again. And he asked over the microphone if I had arrived yet. And I said yes, that I was in the room, and he invited me up to the stand. We played 2 tunes together, and he made an announcement over the mic that the audition was at an end, and that...
So had he been waiting on your arrival, and the others were waiting there like in a waiting room?
No, there had been others who had played with him before that.
Yeah.
Chet Baker. We're going to talk a little bit about Chet. Again, that was from live at Ronnie Scott's, and you heard Chet talking about his what he considered to be his big break in 1952, hooking up with the Charlie Parker Band in Los Angeles. And in L.A. in the 50s and even in the early 60s, Chet was a real big thing around L.A. He lived in L.A. and I got turned on to him as a young kid because my next door neighbor was 5 years older than me, and he played trumpet, and I used to go over there and hang out with him and bug him all the time, and he was always playing these. There's young Chet right there, he was always playing Chet Baker records. And I came home one day at 7 years old, and I said, Mom, can I play trumpet? You know, and they went out and got me a trumpet and trumpet lessons, and I thought I was a little Chet Baker running around, you know. But you could see the Chet here in these pictures. You know, young Chet, matinee idol looks, and of course then you saw him only a mere 30 years later, and you saw how he aged. In 30 years, it looks like he aged 60 years. Of course, you heard Jack referring to his problems. Here's one of these great shots of Chet in studio. This shot was taken by a photographer by the name of William Claxton. And William Claxton, he likes to say he discovered Chet photographically. He took all these incredible pictures of Chet Baker. He was there to shoot the band, and Chet was very photogenic, and he just couldn't, you know, control himself, and he was taking pictures of Chet everywhere he went, and some great shots, and this is clearly one of those shots from William Claxton, you know, world-renowned photographer, and if you get the movie Let's Get Lost, you know, you'll actually see the documentary in 1988. This is another William Claxton shot right here, and that is Chet Baker's second wife, Halima. She was a Pakistani girl, and this shot, you know, you might recognize it because it's on the cover of My Funny Valentine, which is a song that Chet Baker has become synonymous with. It was his signature song. Another great William Claxton shot right here. This is Chet at the piano, and of course this was the cover shot from Let's Get Lost, a great CD album from Chet Baker, Let's Get Lost, and that's the cover shot. Here's another one of those William Claxton photos in the studio, young Chet Baker. But Baker was born in 1929 in Yale, Oklahoma. He died in May of 1988 in Amsterdam, and it was kind of a controversial death. They say he fell out of his window from the second floor. Here's another in-studio shot of Chet, but you know, he was probably, people speculate that he was probably very high on heroin or speedballs. He used to mix heroin and cocaine. He was known for that. And in his room in the Amsterdam hotel, they found massive quantities of heroin and cocaine. So they don't think it was some thugs that pushed him out the window. He probably lost his balance and fell out the window, and very tragic death. But Chet had a lot of stories like that. I mean, in the 60s at one time, he had his teeth knocked out, and Chet's story was he was jumped by 5 guys in San Francisco, and some people speculate that he owed a lot of drug dealers money, and they thought the best way to pay him back was to knock his teeth out. And it's, of course, a well-known story, and Chet didn't play professionally for about 3 years. He had his teeth knocked out, and he had to learn how to play all over again with dentures. And he was able to do that and come back, but he claims he was just jumped for his money, and people speculate that somebody wanted to teach him a lesson. But his bouts with heroin were very well known, and it's kind of a shame. But you hear about so many of these kinds of stories with jazz artists and jazz musicians. But Chet first came to fame with the Jerry Mulligan Quartet in 1952. And again, his solo on My Funny Valentine is a classic West Coast jazz in the 50s. And when Jerry Mulligan got arrested in 1953, Chet actually left the group until 1955. He went to Europe, and that's when Chet started to really make a name for himself over there. He played in Italy and France and Spain, and I mean just all over Europe, and he was really big over there. And nowadays, if you go out there and you want to look for Chet Baker CDs, it's amazing how many Chet Baker albums are out there. He used to kind of just take money from one record company and go buy it on drugs and make a recording for the money, and then go to somebody else and make a recording and get the money. And there's all these Chet Baker recordings out there. But his music is what pulled him through every time. I particularly like his early stuff in the 50s, but also in the 60s. There was a period of 3 or 4 years there where he really got into the flugelhorn. He played the trumpet, the cornet, and the flugelhorn. And, he's got some really sweet sounds on the flugelhorn. Actually, we have a couple of clips from that that interview with in 1986. They're short, and it's just Chet talking about, you know, when his teeth got knocked out and when he got let out of jail. If you want to run those back to back, Ant, it's 08 and 09. Let's take a look. Let's hear from Chet.
The first real setback was in San Francisco when I was jumped by those 5 guys, and I lost all my upper teeth, and I had to stop playing for 3. Well, I didn't stop. I got a plate, and I was determined to find a way. They told me, you know, nobody can play with false teeth, and I didn't go for that, and I knew there must be a way of doing it, and I was going to find it. And so I worked at it for 3 years. It was 3 years before I worked professionally before a live audience.
And then we have that other clip.
I was pretty wild when I was young, and I got, as they say, busted twice in California for writing prescriptions, which is really outrageous, and could have ended up very easily as Art did in San Quentin. But I had some luck on my side that Art didn't have, in that my judge had been a trumpet player in college. And so after 5 months, after the second time I was arrested, he put me back on the street and back on probation, and I immediately got on the methadone program and stayed on there for 7 years.
The very thought of you.
Well, that's where they go into Chet and Elvis Costello. That's a great CD or DVD. I want to pick that up. Chet Baker live at Ronnie Scott's in 1986. I think you'd really like that. We're going to wrap up the Chet Baker segment with one last number from Chet. It's My Ideal, one of my favorites from him. And again, this is from Ronnie Scott's, and this will be our goodbye to Chet tonight. Check it out.
Will I ever find the girl in my mind, the one who is my ideal? Maybe she's a dream, and yet she might be just around the corner, waiting for me. Will I recognize the light in her eyes that no other eyes reveal? Or will I pass her by and never even know that she was mine? ever find the girl in my mind, the one who's my ideal. Maybe she's a dream, and yet she might be just around the corner, waiting for me. Will I recognize the light in her eyes that no other eyes reveal? Or will I pass her by and never even know that she was mine? I did.
Chillin' with Larry Megan.
The very first Zidalza charity concert. All ages show, Portchester, New York. St. Peter's Church. Connected to all major highways and a block away from the Portchester train station. $10 donation at the door for every wristband. 100% of proceeds will be split between the St. Peter's and St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Research Center. Performances by Bo Valentine and DJ Smooth, American Pinup, Set the Charge, Jay Butler and C Nature, Program City, Infectious by Nature. Support a beautiful cause and help create the live music scene Westchester has never had before.
The first Zidalza charity concert takes place on Saturday, November 6, 2010 at 7 p.m.
Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Well, that was it for Chet Baker. We went out on My Ideal, Will I Ever Find, the girl in my mind? I don't know sometimes, I'll tell you that. But I think about it sometimes. Anyway, that was great on Chet. Before we go into the Classic Film Zone, I want to let everybody know we've gotten a few orders come through here. Thank you all on the Acorn Exchange. Let's give another plug for that if we can. There's still a few pieces to go around. It's what you can do is you can go to www.acorn.tv. If you're already there, just open up a new window, open up a new browser. You want to click on the Acorn Exchange, and you want to go into the Giant Oak offering, and you'll see that it's actually our Century Plaza from Sterling Original. And it's a great offer tonight. A few pieces still remaining to go around. You can actually pick it up for only $119. It's a mechanical automatic with a 40-hour power reserve indicator on the dial. That's a black mother-of-pearl dial, 16-karat rose gold plating. Thank you to Sterling Original for supporting us here on Chillin' with Larry Megan and the Acorn Exchange. You have to use the code word CHET, as we featured Chet Baker tonight. So you put in the discount code CHET, and you will see that price drop from $449 down to $119 tonight. And that discount code is good all the way up until midnight tomorrow night, Thursday, or while the quantities last, okay? So take advantage of that. Now, in our Classic Film Zone tonight, we're going to feature one of the great movie musicals of all time, Easter Parade. Let's go into the Classic Film Zone. Well, tonight we're going to talk about Easter Parade, and this was one of those big, grand MGM musicals from the Arthur Freed unit in 1948. And there's a lot of story on this movie. This is a movie that was purchased by MGM from Irving Berlin. Berlin shopped this. He shopped it over with 20th Century Fox, and they didn't want to pay his big price. We may have one of the movie poster pictures loaded up, Ant. I'm not sure if we got the movie poster shot in there, but we can show the few shots that we have. This had just a tremendous roster of stars in this movie, of course, led by Judy Garland, Fred Astaire, Ann Miller. Who am I forgetting here? Oh, Peter Lawford, by the way. He actually sings in this movie. We were going to show you the clip of Umbrella with Peter Lawford, but I don't think we have the time to do it. But if we do, we'll show that as well. Here's a nice shot here of a poster shot. But again, Irving Berlin shopped this movie around, and Louis B. Mayer said, "Give him his prize, give him his money, let's take it." And it's really a great thing that he bought it from Irving Berlin, because Irving Berlin actually wrote songs from vaudeville back in 1911. He actually wrote musical numbers for Ziegfeld Follies in 1911, 1918, 1919. So he was there, and this is a period piece. This movie was produced in 1948, but the time period that it is set in is 1912. So what they did with the roster of songs, about half the songs in the movie, which are all spectacular, were songs written by Irving Berlin over the previous 30 some odd years prior to the movie, and then he wrote about half the songs for the movie specifically for the movie. But it's coming from a songwriter and composer that actually wrote for Broadway back in that era. So it had a real sense of realism to it because of Irving Berlin. Now, here you see a nice shot of, Judy Garland and Fred Astaire, and there's an interesting story behind that as well. Actually, this movie was supposed to be Judy Garland with Gene Kelly. They had just before this done a movie together called The Pirate, and of course, The Pirate was somewhat of a bomb for Judy. It was a little bit out of the box, and it was actually directed by Judy's husband, Vincent Minnelli, and she had tremendous strain on her marriage during the making of The Pirate. And Vincent Minnelli was actually slotted to direct this film as well, but because of the stress in Judy's life with the making of The Pirate, I think everybody involved felt that it would be better for them not to work together so quickly. And so in the interest of Judy's marriage, they brought in, who'd they bring in, Karen? I forget, and it's slipping my mind here. Well, it was Chuck Walters, of course. They brought in Chuck Walters, who Judy had a great affection for. Chuck Walters, a former dance partner with her. He was known as mostly a dance choreographer. And she knew him, of course, from the movies that she had done with Chuck Walters, the Mickey Rooney movies. And so they brought in Chuck Walters to make Judy comfortable as well. And it really worked out for the best for everybody. It gave it a different touch, a light touch on the movie. They brought in Sidney Sheldon to kind of revamp the script. The script was originally kind of cast as somewhat of a dark movie, believe it or not. And Sidney Sheldon came in and he kind of livened it up and made it a little bit of a musical comedy. And it was great. Now, again, Gene Kelly was supposed to co-star with Judy, and they actually went into rehearsals on this film, and they were a month into rehearsals. They hadn't started shooting yet, and Gene Kelly was known for his weekends that he would have at his house, and he was a very athletic guy. He liked to play volleyball and football and softball and all these sports. And at one of his weekends at his house, he actually broke his ankle playing, I believe it was football. We've read in two places where one it was said he was broke playing volleyball, and another one said he broke playing football. But either way, on one of these Gene Kelly weekends, he did break his ankle playing football. He actually told Louis B. Mayer that he broke the ankle in rehearsing the dance numbers, because he was afraid that Louis B. Mayer would be so upset with him for playing football. But in any case, a month into rehearsals, they couldn't hold it up for 5 months till he healed his ankle. So Gene Kelly himself said, call Fred Astaire, see if he could fill in. And the problem, of course, is that Fred Astaire was retired for 2 years. He had spent a lifetime making movies and dancing, and he said, that's it for me. He got into his racehorses. He was breeding racehorses at the time. And when Fred Astaire got the call, he said, Gene, are you sure you don't want, this won't hurt you in any way? And Gene said, no, it's the only way we can make this movie. And, Fred Astaire jumped at the chance to come out of retirement to do a movie with Judy Garland. He said he was on record as saying, she was the greatest that ever lived, and what a great thing it was to play opposite Judy Garland and with Judy Garland. And he was happy to come out of retirement. And it turned out to be a great thing for Fred Astaire as well, because the movie was a big hit. And Fred Astaire has spent 10 more years now with MGM after this movie, making more movies for MGM. So this revived Fred Astaire's career. And we'll talk more about the things going on in this movie. But let's start it off, with Fred Astaire, the way the movie starts off. And, well, before we do, let me give you a little quick plot here. This is the scene is set in, the movie is set in 1912. And Fred Astaire is a dancer on Broadway, and he has a dance partner, and they do ballroom dancing, and they entertain, their act is ballroom dancing. And he's fairly successful at it, and he's known as a very, successful dancer on Broadway. And at this point it's the beginning of the movie, and he's on top of the world, and it's getting ready for Easter Sunday. And so he's going around and he's doing some shopping to buy his love interest, which is Nadine, played by Ann Miller, and he's going out buying gifts for his love. And he walks into a store, and there's a kid in the store, and it's called Drum Crazy. Let's check it out.
A bunny for my honey, a dolly with a curl, an aeroplane, an electric train, and a teddy bear for my girl. A kitty for my pretty, a castle for my love. Gee, what do I see? Brother, if that's a drum, that's for me. I'm drum crazy, yes, I'm drum crazy, yes, I'm plum crazy for drums. I've got drumsticks full of hot licks and a roll, loaded with soul, under control. First soft violins, then sweet saxophones, then blue clarinets croon. When it's my turn, I turn into a loon. When the drum takes the melody, when the drum carries the tune.
Well, that's Fred Astaire, you know. At this point in the movie, it's at the beginning of the movie now, Fred Astaire goes, of course, over to see his love interest, Nadine. It's played by Ann Miller. And another interesting thing about the making of this movie was that Nadine was supposed to be played by Sid Charisse. And, you know, if you're a fan of the old, you know, musicals and everything, Sid Charisse is regarded as one of the great movie dancers of all time on film. And, of course, Fred Astaire has played with her several times. And what happened with her is she actually tore a ligament in her leg also, you know, well into rehearsals before the movie started shooting. So Gene Kelly breaks an ankle. He's out. And when Sid Charisse tore her ligament or pulled a ligament in her leg, she couldn't dance. And so they actually had auditions. And Ann Miller at that time was just coming over to MGM from, I think she was with maybe with Metro or Samuel Goldwyn. But in any case, she was well known to the Mayers and the Goldwyns. But she actually had to audition for the part. It wasn't just given to her, and she did win the part. The interesting thing about that is she was a great dancer, tap dancer, all kinds of dancing. But she had just had a serious accident where she was pregnant, and she, you know, got knocked down the steps, and, you know, she lost her child and everything. So when she had to audition and when she performed in this movie, she had to do it wearing a brace, where she was all tied up. Her back was really messed up, but she wanted this part so bad because she always wanted to dance with Fred Astaire. Also, Ann Miller is kind of tall. She's 5'6", and Fred Astaire always liked shorter dance partners. And it was said that, you know, Ann Miller said, "Oh, Mr. Astaire, I'll wear ballet shoes if I could dance with you." And so that's what she did in all the numbers. She wears these long dresses, but when she spins, you can kind of see she's wearing flats under there to dance with Astaire. But anyway, he goes over to her apartment now for Easter Sunday, or maybe the night before Easter Sunday. Actually, it was the night before. And he's got gifts for her and everything, and it's his dancing partner, and he's in love with her, and he's all excited. And when he goes over to the house, she basically tells him she's leaving him as far as the dance number to go. She got an offer for to do a show on Broadway, and it was more important to her to, you know, go for a better gig. And of course he was, you know, crushed, and he leaves her apartment. He can't believe that she's going to leave him. And he goes to not a bar, but a restaurant, whatever it is, where there's drinking. And so he's tying one on. He's getting drunk. And he's got a, you know, he's kind of liquored up a little bit. And he's talking to the bartender there, and he tells the bartender, I don't need her anyway. I can take any girl and teach her how to dance. I taught her everything she knows, and who needs Nadine anyway? And that's the next scene we're going to see here, when he actually, what he does is he discovers Judy Garland, and she plays the part of Hannah Brown. She's dancing, and he actually offers her a gig to dance with him when he's drunk for $100 a week. And she doesn't believe it, but she accepts it. And he says, meet me tomorrow on Easter Sunday at 10 in the morning. And so is that the scene we've got next up? What do we have here? We have, right. So that's the scene that we're going to see here. It's scene number 2. And if we can play that one, let's take a look.
Can you drown a brunette in this?
How tall is she?
5'6".
Try that.
2 bourbons, Mike. She's not going to Chicago.
Well, he travels fastest who travels alone, I always say.
You're right. I bet you know a lot about women.
I should. I've been single all my life.
You're a smart fella.
Mike.
Mike.
You spend your life behind the bar, you get to know what makes people tick. This place is like a clinic. People come in here because they've got troubles. Well, if you listen, you learn. I've been here 15 years, and I can boil down trouble into 2 classifications.
Yeah? What are they?
Women and their mothers.
Hello, Don.
Hi. Oh, hello, Professor.
What'll it be, blonde or brunette?
I'll take the same.
Brunettes, yeah, they're the ones you got to watch.
How did you find me?
Well, I didn't have my crystal ball with me, so I just followed you here.
Meet my friend Mike. He's a disciple of Aristophanes.
How do you do?
Pleased to know you.
Don, I'm taking you back to Nadine.
Did she send you for me?
No, but I'm sure that...
Aha, that's the trouble with college. You've been reading books. There's more sense in one of these than in a whole library. Right, Mike?
Oh, education's all right. It's the people who spoil it.
Look, Don, Nadine didn't mean all those things. She said you 2 belong together.
If it was just that she'd fallen in love with some guy, I could do something about it.
You know that she can't get along without you any more than you can get along without her.
Who says I can't get along without her? See those girls? Any one of them has as much talent as she has.
Oh, you're crazy. There's no one like Nadine. She dances like an angel. She knows how to wear clothes. She's...
Because I taught her. I could take any one of those girls.
Show was on.
I could take any one of those girls and do the same thing.
She still wouldn't be like Nadine. Look, I promised I'd get right back. You coming?
She knows where to find me. She'll come around when contracts are out of season.
You sure you won't change your mind?
No, thanks, Johnny. You run along, will you?
All right. I'll see you later. Take care of it, Mike.
Okay.
Any one of them. Do I need her?
Well, no man is an island.
Thanks, Mike.
Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main.
Yeah, I think you'll do.
You think I'll do what?
I'm looking for someone to dance with.
Wrong number.
I need a new dancing partner. I don't know how much you're getting, but I'll give you $100 a week.
$100? That would never do for
All
me.
right, 150.
150. Thank you very much. Now, may I go?
Sure. Just a minute. Here's my card. I'll get a rehearsal hall at Michael's. You know where it is?
Yes.
All right, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.
You wait for me.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Mike. Here, will you help me into
Oh,
this?
sure.
Thank you. Oops.
You know, there's a nice guy. He's unhappy and a little lonely.
Yeah, lonely. I bet he's lonely. He probably got away from his keeper. You know what he wanted me to do? Give up a good, steady $15 a week job. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. You know, I didn't catch his name.
Don Hughes. Don Hughes. I was born in Michigan.
Well, you see what happened right there. He saw her come in and just dance a little bit, so he thought that she must be a dancer. If he would have, if Don Hughes, the Astaire character, if he would have stuck around for another 5 minutes, he would have realized that she's really a singer. But he hires her thinking that she's a dancer. And, you know, she actually does go and meet him the next day on Easter Sunday. And it's really quite funny. Judy Garland has got such a great sense of comedic timing. She's really a great comedic actress. And the scene the next morning when she tries to dance, she doesn't know her left foot from her right foot. And he's thinking, what have I done? I must have been really drunk to offer this girl money. He had to give her a rubber band to put around her left foot so she knew which was her left and right. And it was really quite hysterical. But he's determined to, because he believes he can teach anybody how to dance. And so he's determined to show his ex that I don't need you, I can teach anybody. And Judy Garland realizes that she really can't dance. And at that point, he still doesn't know she's a singer. And so she says, Mr. Hughes, you really, don't have to go through with it. And he said, yes, I do. Come with me after their dance rehearsal, which was really quite funny. And he's going to take her shopping now to buy her some proper dresses and clothes for their act, for the dancing act. And so he takes her, into a store. He buys her some dresses. And when they come out of the store, they're walking, on Easter Sunday, they're walking up Fifth Avenue. And in those days, they had what they call the Easter Parade. And in New York, it really was a big thing. On Fifth Avenue on Easter Sunday, everybody would come out. The street was blocked off. They would walk up and down the Easter Parade, and all the ladies would come out wearing fancy hats, and all the men were dressed up. And as they're walking down Fifth Avenue, who comes along with her big, dogs and everything is Nadine. And she's, of course, dressed to kill. She looks incredible, Ann Miller. And she walks by, and Fred Astaire doesn't even want to say hi to her. And she's just getting all this attention. She looks gorgeous. She's turning heads. And, of course, Judy Garland, as Hannah Brown, has no idea who she is to Fred. But even Judy Garland is like, look how beautiful she is. And so Fred Astaire tells her, a year from now, next Easter Sunday, you see that nose on her face? You're going to put it out of joint because, he's going to make her a bigger star than Nadine. That's his goal. And as they're walking down the street, Fred Astaire said he wants to see if Judy Garland as Hannah Brown can make men turn heads, if she can make men's heads turn. And so he says, I'm going to walk behind you, and I want to see if you have what it takes to make men turn and look at you. And so that's the scene we're going to see right here. It's a short one, Ant. Okay? You got it? That one is going to be EP03. All right. Take a look at this. It's just Judy Garland, classic.
Mr. Hughes, I think these dresses are beautiful, but...
But what?
Well, do you think they look like me, like Hannah Brown?
There is no more Hannah Brown. From now on, you're Juanita.
Well, if you wanted a Juanita, why did you pick me?
Now, don't get mad. This is business. A girl dancer has to be exotic. She has to be a peach.
I suppose I'm a lemon.
No. Here's what I mean. Now, when you walk down the street alone, do men try to catch your eye?
Of course they do.
Do they turn around and look at you?
I don't know. I never turn around and look at them.
Here, give me those.
What?
You go ahead. I want to try something.
Huh?
Just walk on ahead. I want to see. Right. You've got it.
Thank you.
She really has got a great sense of humor. Anyway, that wasn't on Easter Sunday. This was actually a little bit later, another time, after he took her to buy some more dresses. But so as the movie progresses now, what happens now is you get into this whole love situation. There's actually four main players in the movie. Fred Astaire, of course, loves Nadine still. Nadine loves Jonathan, who is played by Peter Lawford, who, of course, later became one of the Rat Pack with Frank, Sammy, and Dean, and married into the Kennedy family, of course. And then, but Peter Lawford as Jonathan, he actually begins to fall in love with Hannah Brown. And Hannah, of course, has now fallen for Fred Astaire, for Don Hughes. So the four of them all love the wrong person. And where Peter Lawford actually meets Judy Garland as Hannah Brown is when it's starting to rain. And at this point, he doesn't even know that she is dancing with his best friend, Fred Astaire. He just bumps into her. And this is the fellow with the umbrella. Did we already blow that one out? That was that EP04. Did we blow it out? What do you mean? That was that EP04. Yeah, we probably did. Okay, no problem. So we don't have the Peter Lawford, the fellow with the umbrella, but it's great to see Peter Lawford attempt to sing. He does a nice job. He holds his own. He's not really known as a singer, but he did a nice job with that. Then we have what happens in the movie is he finally gets it to the point where he trains her to dance with him as his new dance partner. And they go out there and they actually perform on Broadway, and it was just horrible. She tried her best, and it was very comical. She really couldn't dance, and he changed her name to Juanita. And so he finally decides that, well, clearly she's not a dancer. She can't really do ballroom dancing. Maybe I'm trying to make her into Nadine again, and I should let her just be herself. And this is the scene we're going to see now where Fred Astaire, as Don Hughes, actually discovers that she's really a singer. Had he stayed in that restaurant for another 5 minutes, he would have found that out. But now, after a lot of comical things, he finally finds out that she's really a singer. Let's take a look at that.
Miss Brown, one of the first rules of this business is to be punctual. You're a half hour late.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I got caught in the rain. If it hadn't been
I said
so
all
nice...
right, didn't I? Now, I have something very important to talk to you about. I found out what's the matter with our act.
You did?
Yes. You've been trying to be somebody else.
I've been trying to what?
Well, look at you.
What's the matter with me?
Oh, that dress.
Well, I've tried to explain to you.
Hat.
I knew I wouldn't look good
The way
with
you
the
move
thing.
when you do your numbers.
You told me to move like that.
All right. I've changed my mind. From now on, you're going to be yourself. You're going to be perfectly natural.
I am?
You're going to start right from the beginning. There'll be no more fancy dresses and la-di-da business. There is no more Juanita. From now on, you're just plain Hannah Brown.
Whatever you say.
Do you know this song?
Yes.
I'd like to hear you sing it, please.
All right.
Get over there where I can see you, please.
I love the piano, I love the piano, I love to hear somebody play. Upon a piano, a grand piano, it simply carries me away. I know a fine way to treat a Steinway. I love to run my fingers o'er the keys, the ivories, and with the pedal, I love to meddle when Paderewski comes this way. I'm so delighted if I'm invited to hear the long-haired genius play. So you can keep your fiddle and your bow, give me a P-I-A-N. Oh, 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 I love to stop right beside an upright or a high-toned baby grand.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Is it?
Wonderful.
All right.
That's great.
Yes, I know it.
Good girl. Cross. That's fine. Now, around. Oh, yes.
Stop right beside an upright or a high-toned baby grand.
Well, you get the idea. They really go on to be a big success on Broadway as a team, Hannah and Hughes, and of course it's Fred Astaire dancing and it's Judy Garland singing, and they're dancing the kind of dancing that Judy can do, of course, not the ballroom stuff. And they actually become such a success that they actually get offered an opportunity to play in a Ziegfeld Follies play. When they go to audition for it, they find out, Don Hughes finds out that actually his old partner Nadine is really the star of the cast. So even though it was a great opportunity for Hannah and Hughes, he turns it down because he's still, bitter over her leaving him. And they go on to do hone their own act, and they become really big on Broadway, and they have their opening night, and it's a big success. And, as fate would have it, of course, it's the night before Easter, a year later, from that original scene. And it's a huge success, and they go out to celebrate. And when they go out to celebrate, they go to see his former partner, Nadine, in her particular play. And she's a star as well, and she's doing well. And so she actually, while they're sitting there at the side watching them, Hannah and Hughes, Ann Miller as Nadine comes over, and she actually kind of insists that Fred Astaire come up and dance with her for old time's sake. And of course, Judy Garland gets extremely jealous and she runs out. But here is that scene. It's not a big long one right now we're going to show, but it was the theme song for the movie It Only Happens When I Dance With You, and that was written specifically for this movie by Irving Berlin. And let's take a look at that. Ann Miller.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My former partner, Mr. Don Hughes, is here this evening. And perhaps we can persuade Mr. Hughes to do one of our old numbers, It Only Happens When I Dance With You.
Fred, she's gone. So she runs out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to transition into our Judy Garland segment here, Always Chasing Rainbows. During that part of the movie where, they are ascending to stardom, I'm talking about Hannah and Hughes, and it was actually the night that, just the night that we just saw right there before they went to that dinner. One of the big numbers on the bill that night was called A Couple of Swells from their Broadway play, and it was a big hit, and it's become kind of a signature number for Judy Garland. Judy Garland loved to dress up like a hobo. She did it many times, and she loved to just get as funky and dirty and all scruffy as possible. She really enjoyed doing that, putting the black stuff on her teeth and old clothes, and she loved it. Fred Astaire, on the other hand, never really did that before, and he always was impeccably dressed, and you always see him in the tails and the top hats, and it was really a stretch for Fred Astaire to do it, and so he needed help, and Judy actually helped him get, looking like a hobo, like a tramp. And later, after it was all done and everything, Fred Astaire said it was one of the more enjoyable numbers he ever did. And here it is. It's a couple of swells, Judy and Fred. Technical difficulties here. Do we have it, or is it messed up?
Was that what it was?
Yeah, that was it.
That's it, but it's...
I don't know why I did that, dude.
Okay. Are we okay now?
No.
Is it? Oh, that's a shame. So it's messed up. Oh, that's a shame. Well, maybe you've seen that number before. Sorry about that, guys. It looks like...
I'll get it.
Is it all of them like that? All right. Well, it looks like all of them. We had Easter... All right, it was unfortunate. We had technical difficulties. Go out there and get the movie. It's a great movie, Easter Parade. And we're going to make it up to Judy Garland. We'll show that on another show because A Couple of Swells is great, with Judy and Fred. And also, we also had that deleted scene. You might have seen it there real quickly of Mr. Monotony where she's wearing half of the tuxedo with her legs sticking out and everything. That's also a great number. Too bad. They actually deleted it from the movie because they said it was too risque. Okay? But in any case, we're not going to be able to show that tonight. So before we put a wrap on the show, we might as well, since we have this extra time, I do apologize for the technical difficulty there. Maybe we'll give one more shout out on the Acorn Exchange. Again, if you're watching the show now, you have the opportunity. You can go to www.acorn.tv and you can click on the Giant Oak offering, the Acorn Exchange, and you have the opportunity to pick up the Sterling Original Century Plaza for only $119. All you have to do is enter the code word Chet, and you will see the price drop from $449 to $119. That's a mechanical automatic with a power reserve indicator, rose gold layering, 16 karat, and black mother of pearl dial. It's a boardroom style piece. Thank you to Sterling Original for supporting us here at Acorn Exchange. All right. With that said, it was one of those nights. We had some technical difficulties, but we'll be back next week. And until then, remember, always keep chasing those rainbows. Never give up. Peace, love, and all good things.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land.
Chill.